How are you doing? You're doing well. I'm so happy to see you. So, so today you asked me to give you a couple of recommendations, right? Because you didn't really know what to watch these days. Okay. Well, after you said that to me, I thought about it and I tried to make a list of like some of my favorites, films and series. And I'm sure I forgot some that I really love, but this is what I came up with. So I have a list here I worked on, and also there are a few things I didn't watch yet, but they're on my watch list basically. And I thought I would talk to you about them too, just in case you saw them already, or you can give me some feedback on it. Okay? And I may be wrong, but I don't think you've seen any of these films and series. So I try to cross out the things you've already seen because you're looking for new films and series. So that's the point of it. And yeah, sorry, my cat is cleaning herself right now on my lap. So if you hear weird noises, that's her. Okay. Alright, so and I try to divide my favorite films and series in categories. Try to make groups, but I was actually a bit surprised, but there are a few horror movies in my favorites, and I never thought I would be this kind of person, and also lots of romantic films and series, and it was a surprise. It was a nice experiment for me to try to pinpoint what my faves actually are. And what's so funny is that I feel like if you mash up all of the films and series, my favorite ones, you will get something that looks pretty much like me. Like, I feel like it really boils down my personality really well. So, alright, so let's start with the big categories. So first one was actually horror. Surprising, at least to me. And like half of it is like French films or series. So I'm just hoping you'll be able to get them with subtitles, or even in English version, but at least with subtitles. And yeah, I hope you'll find them. Alright, so horror films. First one we have The Fly by Cronenberg, with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, and it is from 1986. I really like Cronenberg overall, and I wouldn't say I'm a fan of body horror, but this may be my favorite type of horror that there is, because it all really feels organic. You know, I was actually having this discussion with someone else a few weeks ago, but to me what can really be spooky with horror films is when you can really like touch it, feel like you can touch it, and with body horror you will get that feeling, because when it's all CGI and animation, I don't know, I tend to feel like I'm not really feeling it, if you know what I mean. And with The Fly it can be really gory at some point, but there's also really this evolution in the film where you have like a normal person at the beginning, and at the end it's like a whole ass creature. And I'm not sure how much you're willing to be spoiled, but I'm gonna try not to spoil you too much any of these. But basically, yeah, if you like body horror, or just, you know, not just spooky jump scare type of films, but really emotional horror is how I would describe it, because you really get the relationship of both central characters during the film evolve, and it's really, yeah, emotionally the most difficult part is to see the person change from a person to a creature. So if you're into that, I would definitely encourage you to watch The Fly. Also, it's like, you can tell it's from the 80s, and I like when you can, you know, get different vibes from the film. And like old school Cronenberg is really much like that. I saw Videodrome a few years ago, which is really, you can tell it's from the 80s now, basically. Alright, so first one, The Fly. Second one in the horror category is Grave, which is a French film, but in English it's translated to Raw. And it's a film by Julia Ducournau, so directed by a French woman. So basically the story of this film is that there's this young woman going to veterinary school, and she starts to, actually she's like a vegetarian at first, but there she has to eat a piece of meat for some reason, and from this point on she gets urges to eat humans, basically. So this one is really gory. I would say it is pretty creepy, and you're gonna see blood and everything, but it's a really good film, and it has sort of an indie vibe to it too, and it is from 2016, so 5 years ago. And yeah, I really like it. It's not really the type of, actually I'm not the kind of person to rewatch specific films, but I know I really enjoyed it, and I thought you might too. Alright, so second big group in my favorite films. Actually I'm checking, but there are 2 series in my favorites and the rest is all films, so yeah. Okay, second big part is romantic, and I didn't know I liked romantic movies that much. But basically I thought the first one I would encourage you to watch is Much Ado About Nothing, but the 1993 version with Emma Thompson. And well, basically it is based on a Shakespeare, I think, play, and I'm not gonna spoil it too much for you, but basically yeah, it's about a couple which do not like each other at first, but since everyone around them is telling them, oh yeah, that person said you were cute, or like basically everyone around these 2 people are trying to make them a couple, and somehow, you know, they are starting to fall for it. So it's really nice. Emma Thompson is such a good actress, but I rarely saw her when she was younger. I know the 2000 Emma Thompson, and it was so good to discover her in this when I watched it. Also, there are so many, the casting is really fancy. There are all of these really well-known persons. I think there's Michael Reeves and other people. There's funny part is that there's Kenny Reeves in the film, but like in 93, and he was a baby actor, and according to me he plays really, really badly in the film. It's almost funny. I think also he has a fake British accent for some reason, and I think so. I saw it a while ago, but I think that's true. And overall it's a really nice film to watch. I would definitely recommend you. And if you've never heard of Much Ado About Nothing before, well, you're gonna know a classic by Shakespeare too, so what's not to like? So yeah, what else do I have? Alright, I have 2 films by Céline Sciamma, so French films, and we have the Portrait de la jeune fille en feu, or in English, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was released in 2019, so recently. And also I thought I would recommend her very first film, which is Naissance des pieuvres, or Water Lilies in English, and it is from 2007. And actually I've known Céline Sciamma, the director, for years. I think I discovered her maybe 10 years ago when I was a teen, and basically she does a lot of queer films, and these two are like queer romance, and I've always been a fan of her. And yeah, at first I thought, I thought of telling you should be watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire, but then I thought, okay, but Water Lilies is really good as well, so I would encourage you to watch both. Depending on which one you would prefer, I would say the most recent one is the most polished one, of course, polished. So I would advise you to watch this one for sure, and if you like it, try Water Lilies too. And yeah, they are really, I don't know, I feel like they are really beautiful films, and I hope you will like them. Alright, last one from the romantic category is Peau, which I'm assuming is translated to donkey skin in English. It's a tale at first, a fairy tale, but there's this amazing adaptation by Jacques Demy from 1970, and it's a musical as well. It's flamboyant, it's all over the place, it's a dream, it's incredible. And I really, really love it. It's a huge inspiration to me when I watched it when I was younger, but even currently, well, I've rewatched it recently for my birthday actually, and every time I'm like, oh, I'm so inspired by all this. And they are using a lot of really new techniques in the film, even though it was made in early 70s, and it's really, really fun. So if you're into musical, go ahead. I'm sure you're gonna love it. But I know musicals are not for everyone, so if that's not really something for you, it's fine as well. But yeah, I hope you will watch it. Okay, and the rest, there are not really any categories for the rest, but yeah, I'm gonna tell you about them. So, I added Gone Girl by David Fincher. Maybe this is the most well-known film in the list, maybe. And it is from 2014, and it's really good. I really like it. I think it's a really great thriller, and yeah, I really like the film overall, even though depending on your views of the film and what it is showing about relationships and everything, maybe it's not for you, really depends. And I think the thing with this film is that you can either root for her or completely hate her, and maybe the truth is a bit in the middle. I don't know. Anyway, if you have never seen it, I would encourage you to watch it. Next, I actually have the Watchmen series from 2019 by Damon Lindelof and with Regina King. I loved it. I love that series so much, and if you're familiar with the Watchmen comics, it is set in the future of this universe timeline, because you know that the comics and the film, there was a film before too, they both take place, I think, in the 80s, and this series is taking place, I think it was pretty much in 2019 or 18, and it's nice to see how their world could have been evolving too. And also what I like is that it's not just fan service, you know, because they are taking a huge franchise and still they make it their own. They take bold choices about the original material, and I really like it. Plus, I didn't mention, but both for Gone Girl and Watchmen, the soundtrack is by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, and I love their music. I really love their music, so I remember really watching and listening to a lot of the Watchmen soundtrack back then, and in 2019, frankly, it wasn't my top 2 favorite series with Euphoria. Both made my year. So yeah, really, really good. Alright, now I have a classic a classic of my childhood, and it is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love it. I really like it, and actually with my partner we are rewatching the whole thing because I watched it when I was younger but they didn't, so we are watching everything. And I remember when I was younger I used to watch a lot of series, but there was like Charmed, Smallville, Buffy, but I really feel like Buffy is standing out because it was so modern in how the female characters especially were written. There were so many different strong, incredible characters, sensitive as well, a bit of everything. Really, it was just so well written, according to me. Plus, I'm also into fashion, and like the first 3 seasons are full on 90s fashion, and every outfit is iconic. It was really nice to get inspired by the show as we were rewatching it. But yeah, if you've never watched it before, I would encourage you to try. I know the first season I'm not a fan of, the second one is a bit better, but not that good yet. But it gets better and better over the seasons. And yeah, if you have the time, if you're willing to watch it, I would encourage you to do so. And yeah, I feel like it's like, you know, with X-Files, this type of series, there are a lot of filler episodes with like an intrigue, but only for like one episode, and it's not really helping the whole season arc to develop. And maybe if you don't want to watch all of these, you can like you know, get guides, you know, watch it or skip it, this type of things, which will let you know in advance which episode you can skip if you want to. But of course you can watch everything if you have the time and if you want to. That would be ideal. But yeah, I really like Buffy, so I thought I would let you know. Alright, 2 more from my favorite list. So now we have La Planète Sauvage, or Fantastic Planet, from 1973, and this is actually a sci-fi animation film, a French one, by René Laloux. And to me it's like just as Peau, in which it's so aesthetically unique that it's really inspiring and beautiful, and I love it. Even though I've watched it a while ago, it still is to me a piece of art that's so inspiring. And actually I've realized that I'm really into like retro futuristic vibes, you know, the 70s, imagining the future, Barbarella and all that stuff. And I feel like La Planète Sauvage is really such an inspiration to me. And sometimes I realize, you know, sometimes I do white eyeliner at the side here of the eyes, and to me it has this really big retro futuristic vibe to it. And I think part of it is this type of films which really inspired me when I was younger. I've internalized all of these things, and now it's part of my style, I would say. This is what I was telling you, basically if you mash up all of these films, you get a piece of me, you know, because like the Buffy 90s styles is really much how I like to dress sometimes. The retro futuristic you get in La Planète Sauvage, the flamboyant side of Peau, it's all working for me. but this is really personal. I know that maybe for you it's not going to be that interesting or working, or you won't get it, but it's okay. So this film is Showgirls by Paul Verhoeven. And I have to say I'm not a fan of Paul Verhoeven because he takes a lot of... There are recurrent subjects in his films I'm not comfortable with. He's often portraying lack of consent and sexual violence, and I'm not comfortable with this type of scenes, but there are always in his films such scenes. But yeah, basically Showgirls is about a woman, Demy, coming to Las Vegas to become a dancer. But yeah, basically she discovers the competition with the other girls and how she's treated as a dancer it's really, really tacky, and it didn't work that well when it was published back then, when it was aired back then. And I get it. I mean, it's really, I don't know, it feels bad, you know, it feels like it's too much all the time, and my opinion is that it's the point, and it was thought that way. But yeah, I like it anyway. It's weird, and yeah, it's too much. It's so bad that it becomes good in a way. But I personally, I know I love it, but every single time I watch it, I'm like, okay, this is bad. I know I love it, but it's a really bad movie in the end. Yeah, maybe you're gonna like it, maybe not, but I thought I would mention it. And actually there's a last series on my list, which is Fleabag, which is a British series from 2016, and it is made by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And actually I think I watched this series for the first time last year, so I'm new to it, and I loved it. The humor is impeccable, it's incredible. This is basically the story of a girl living in London, and a woman actually, and you never know her name, so Fleabag is like how you would call her, and it's really, really funny. And yeah, it's like that kind of British humour which is too much, and I really like it, and I realise I'm really bad at pitching you every single series and film, but it's good. Know that if I mentioned it, and I thought of it and I weighed it, you know, is it good enough to be mentioned, is it not? But if it's here, I love it. Okay. Alright, so yeah, Fleabag is incredible. The season 2 broke my heart. It was so good, and it was amazing. Yeah, so that's it for my favourite films and series. And now for my watch list, I have just 2 things I would like to watch soon, and I don't know if you know them or if you've watched them yourself, but there is The Love Witch, which is a film from 2016 by Anna Biller. And what's so interesting to me about the film is that it was filmed recently, but it looks like it was filmed in the 60s or 70s, and I'm more curious on the technical point of how they made it look so retro, you know. And I would just love to, you know, watch documentaries or just know what they used and what were the tricks to make it look like that, you know, because if you just watched the trailer, you would think it is from these days, these old days. So even though I'm not sure if it's actually a good film, but just for the visual aspect of it, I would love to watch it. And lastly, there's a series I would love to watch, and it is called I May Destroy You. It is also a British series from 2020 by Michaela Coel, and she's also the main actress. And I actually have a few lines here which sum up the series. A fearless, frank and provocative half-hour series exploring the question of sexual consent and where, in the new landscape of dating and relationships, the distinction between liberation and exploitation lies. I don't know, I've seen so many good things written about this series because it's like her project and it feels really good, you know, just like Fleabag. I love actually when some persons, you know, write, direct and, well, are the main actor or actress in the series, because in the end you've got a really personal product and series or film, and these tend to be the most touching ones for me, I guess. So I think I've covered everything I had written. These are like my favorites. I would encourage you to watch. And these two were like on my watch list, so these are things I would like to watch soon, basically. Yeah. How do you feel? Do you see something you would be interested in? Because I know it's really personal, you know, it's not the most common or well-known films or anything like that, so you may not be interested in some of them, but hopefully there's going to be one or two that you may want to watch, and I hope so. Well, that's it. Now I'm going to leave you the note, okay? The list, I'm going to leave it to you so that you have all of the references if you want to check any of them. And please, 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 if you watch anything from it, let me know. I would love to have a chat with you on what you've thought of them, you know, especially the most obscure one, because I feel like Peau is it's an old French movie, you know, who really saw it? I mean, my mother saw it, myself, I watched it when I was younger, but I feel like it's not even my generation, you know, and I don't know how easy it is to get outside of France because of the language barrier, and it's a shame because it's so good. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon, okay?